Yo, good evening. Happy 250th birthday, USA. And shouts to the people listening from international Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, the tri-state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later, just like the candy. Your host with the most, missing the still only nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Knicks fan, New York Giants fan, and New York Mets fan as well, from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you are now rocking with me by listening, tuning in, and watching the 123rd episode of the Sports Edition show, Excellent, Fun, Vibrant Talks Podcast. Man, oh man, we got some stuff to talk about here involving the update of Skattebo, along with Malik Neighbors, and of course some breaking basketball news involving Mitchell Robinson, and along with a few baseball stuff that's happening. And yeah, we're live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube in the comfort of my room while I do my podcast recordings. And again, just to address a little something real quick, in case you're wondering about the sound in the background, that's my air conditioner because it is a heat wave out there. Temperature is about 102. Tomorrow is going to be 103. I hope everybody out there is actually keeping themselves cool with some water, alongside with air conditioners in their homes or central air. If you don't have any of those things, you can go to some cooling centers. You would have to call 311 and they will actually help you with some cooling centers in a neighborhood near you. And especially if you're gonna have a cooling center, you gotta make sure they have inside pools. All right. So now that I got that out the way, let me address how you can support me and the sports show and everything else that I do is by clicking on that subscribe button on the sports YouTube channel page, and of course, leave a like and a comment. Tell me how you feel about the sports topics in each episode whatsoever. As you can see, the social media usernames that's scrolling across your screen right there. Most of them is Facebook, Threads, Bluesky, and alongside with Instagram. So I'll address those at the end of the show. All right. So without further ado, let me cut to the chase and go to the quick side bleacher bar. All right, let's do this. Yes, we have a Skattebo and Malik Neighbors update that we got to get to right here, right now. So let's start off with the Skattebo update. And this is according to the folks from Heavy. All right. So, in case you guys are wondering when football season starts in September. All right. All right, so let's get to this. So, New York Giants running back Skattebo has faced a long recovery since the season-ending ankle injury he suffered against the Philadelphia Eagles last season. But it seems like he's almost back in the swing of things. No, I'm not muted. Just to let you know, I'm not muted. All right, so NorthJersey.com's Art Stapleton shared an update on the 2025 draft pick at Giants mandatory minicamp, and Skattebo was actively participating in the open parts of practice to the media. And yeah, yeah. Stapleton noted he may even jump into a team practice or two in the coming days. In the wake of all the other injuries, which I'll get to Malik Neighbors next, New York has been suffering this summer. Giants fans should be elated to hear some good news about one of their most exciting players. John Harbaugh on Cam Skattebo's recovery process. At the conclusion of New York Giants practice, head coach John Harbaugh met with reporters and gave his own update on how he felt Skattebo's recovery was going. In quote, I was happy. He was telling me today that they were allowing him to do drills. And then the trainer told me too that he was going to get some plays in group plays in team. And I was like, if that's where you want him to be, Harbaugh said. So he worked super hard. I did mention maybe no backflips out here today, so he agreed. Harbaugh was referring to a viral moment that happened at Brian Burns' charity softball game when Skattebo hit a home run, then pulled out his signature backflip celebration before rounding home plate. The video shared by ESPN's Jordan Renan, which was amassed over 1 million views on X, clearly displays just how excited fans are to see how well his recovery is going. After all, he wouldn't be doing backflips if his ankle wasn't feeling up to par. Harbaugh has a point. Maybe the 24-year-old should hold off on performing his celebratory move until he's scoring touchdowns in September. Cam Skattebo primed for monster year. The New York Giants will be careful not to push Skattebo too hard too early. He figures to be a key piece of their new look offense under Harbaugh and Matt Nagy. Harbaugh's Baltimore Ravens were famous for their smash mouth style of running the football, and the Giants should be no different. Skattebo and backfield mate Tyrone Tracy figured to be the main benefactor of that new style of play. After selecting the Arizona State product with the 105th pick in the fourth round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Giants got an immediate return on their investment. In 8 games last season, Skattebo ran the ball 101 times for 410 yards, scoring 5 touchdowns on the ground. He was even a threat through the air, catching 24 passes for 270 yards and hauling in 2 receiving touchdowns. Skattebo was an effective Jackson Dart outlet in their few games together. Hold on 1 second. When targeting his running back, Dart had a 124.9 passer rating, proving just how electric a connection the two youngsters have with each other. as the tantalizing second year player is healthy, he should be set for a big season entering 2026. Now on to Malik Neighbors. Hang on. On to Malik Neighbors. Hold on. There's another player that I have to get to. Yeah, let's get to Malik Neighbors, and then we'll get to the other New York Giants player. Um, yeah, New York Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors. Um, Malik Neighbors' status for week one of the 2026 season is still up in the air as he continues his rehab from a torn ACL suffered in October. The 22-year-old recently underwent a second procedure to clean up the area. And quote, he's in the middle of it. It's such a hard thing, head coach John Harbaugh said. It's an ACL and whatever else he had in that knee, not a simple knee injury. He's in the slog of it, the grind of it. He's fighting through it. He's here every day working hard at it. Impossible to predict. The goal is to start the season and get out there sometime during training camp. That'll be the goal. But we'll see what happens. If he's out there, great. If he's not out there, great. We're ready to go either way. I know he's fighting like crazy to be out there, and he's with the guys every day. Neighbors had the greatest rookie receiving season in franchise history 2 years ago, recording 109 catches for 1,204 yards and 7 touchdowns. He went down in week 4 during quarterback Jackson Dart's NFL debut. The LSU product is still very much the future of the organization at the position, leading a depth chart that is largely new outside of Darius Slayton. They picked up Darnell Mooney in free agency and drafted Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame in the 3rd round of the NFL draft last month. New York remains intact with Odell Beckham Jr. about a potential reunion as well, as I discussed that in the previous episode, 122. Okay, we got another player to discuss, and that would be, hold on a second. Actually, this is the, this is another update, actually. Another update about Malik Neighbors, actually. So, will New York Giants star wide receiver Malik Neighbors be ready to start the 2026 season, or won't he? Whenever he is ready to get on the field, how close will Neighbors be to his dominant 2024 form when he set a franchise record with 109 receptions? That seems to be the biggest issue hanging over the Giants as we await the opening of training camp. The questions in Neighbors' importance are why Neighbors is number 4 on our list of the most important Giants players of 2026. There's an argument to be made that Neighbors is the Giants' most talented player and that he could be number 2 on this list. He lands, though, at number 4. Yeah, he lands at number 4, excuse me. Neighbors, the 6th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, finished that season with the Giants' single season record of 109 receptions, which he took for 1,204 yards and 7 touchdowns. The receptions were 2 more than Steve Smith's former franchise record of 107 set in 2009. Neighbors' 109 catches, ranked as the most by a rookie wide receiver in NFL history, topping the 105 receptions. The Rams, Puka Nakua had in 2023. Raiders tight end Brock Bowers finished the year with 112 receptions, which set the new NFL rookie reception record. Neighbors finished the season fifth in the NFL in receptions and seventh in receiving yards, despite missing 2 games and catches passes from 4 different quarterbacks. Neighbors played just 4 games in 2025, getting just 25 snaps with quarterback Jackson Dart before tearing his ACL and meniscus after leaping to try and make a catch. The Giants have remained optimistic that Neighbors will play in week one, despite that timeline being only about 11 months since his injury. Yeah. Sorry about that. Hold on. Give me one moment. One moment. Yeah, sorry about that. Um, where were we? Where was I? Yes, I still think he'll be fine week one. Sean told Yahoo Sports on Monday, so we'll see. He's trending in the right direction. Again, these things take time, so it's not instant. Every patient is different. Head coach John Harbaugh has said that rehabbing from a knee injury like Neighbors is a slog. I think he does everything he can, Harbaugh said. He said his plan is to be here most of the time. Almost all the time he'll be there. He'll be here, I believe. I don't think he will be here all the time. He's going to be here a lot. Working hard. Yeah, working hard. He's making really good progress right now. I'm very hopeful that he'll be back soon. Also, understand when you come back from a knee injury, he'll be back and he'll still be in the building. He'll be building his way back to his ultimate full strength self. But he's doing great. He's doing a great job. He's made some real good progress in the last few weeks. Harbaugh said that progress did not change his outlook when Neighbors might be available. I wasn't less optimistic before, like I said. It's a slog. It's a grind. I don't know what he meant by slog, but okay. He's still in the middle of it, Harbaugh said. He's probably not in the middle of it now. He's probably maybe 70% through. I don't know, something like that. 80% through. He's still grinding. He's going to grind. Excuse me. He's going to be a grind when he starts playing again to get back right. Um, the way Neighbors moved in the 2 videos below from the Brian Burns charity softball game at the end of May wasn't exactly encouraging. Jeez. The last time we spoke to Neighbors was at the end of the 2025 season. He wouldn't commit to a timeline for his return. Target date is when my body feels ready to be out there, Neighbors said. I had a lot messed up in my knee, successfully operated on. It's going to take a little bit of time. The Giants have a cadre of veteran receivers who have played good football in the NFL, but none are neighbors. Odell Beckham was at one time, but that was a decade or more ago. Darius Slayton, Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Isaiah Hodgins have all been productive players. Rookie third-round pick Malachi Fields is an exciting player with potential. None of those players can stretch the field or make the explosive plays that Neighbors is capable of making. If the Giants are going to have a chance to be as good as people like NFL analyst Greg Olson think they can be, Neighbors is going to have to be a part of it. Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to rush the guy though, man. Make sure you want to make sure that he takes his time to recover. An injury like that usually takes time to recover. It's more than 1 month though. So there's no timeline of when he'll be returning. So there's no timeline for that. All right. All right. We got some breaking news in basketball as far as the New York Knicks. We need to talk about that too. Hold on 1 second here. I can find that. I can find it. First and foremost, this is crazy. So let me see. Yeah, he's not returned. Mitchell Robinson is not returning to the Knicks. So Mitchell Robinson's days with the New York Knicks could be numbered, according to Knicks insider Stephen Bondy's Thursday report. Bondy tweeted that team owner James Dolan's unwillingness to pay into the second apron will prevent the franchise from running it back with its bench unit from its 2026 NBA championship squad. On top of the Knicks' limited salary cap space, other suitors could reportedly be angling to offer the 7-foot bruiser a starter level contract. Robinson's unlikely return to New York sparked strong reactions from the NBA community. Very interesting. Very interesting. I got some thoughts about this actually. Um, I got some thoughts about this actually. So this is, yeah. Hold on 1 second. I can figure out what the hell's going on with my tablet here. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. Figure out what the hell's going on with my damn tablet. Um, yeah, I got some thoughts actually. So here's what I would say actually. Hang on a second. Let me just find it. Um, so I've been watching Locked On Knicks and along with New York Got Game podcast, right? And they talked about the Mitchell Robinson trade to because he got traded to the Celtics, the Boston Celtics. If I could actually find it. Oh boy. I can actually find that. Hang on 1 second here. I don't know what's going on with my shit, so I gotta restart this. Damn, I don't know what's going on with my other tablet. What's going on with my other tablet, though? This is crazy. All right. Okay. Like I was saying before, um, yeah, Mitchell Robinson has been traded to the Boston Celtics. All right. Now I know everybody has some different reactions about this. Um, so listen to this, and this is according to MSN.com. Mitchell Robinson has reportedly agreed to a 3-year, $47.4 million contract with the Boston Celtics, according to ESPN's Shams Charania, a lucrative new deal for one of the best backup big men and premier rebounders in the sport. Robinson, Robinson has averaged 7.5 points, 8.0 rebounds, 1.7 blocks, and 0.9 steals in 23.4 minutes per game across 8 pro seasons. He is one of just 3 players in NBA history to shoot at least 70% from the field for his career in more than 5,000 minutes played, joining fellow centers Robert Williams III and Daniel Gafford. A 5-star prep prospect, Robinson withdrew his commitment to Western Kentucky to focus fully on preparing for the pros. The New York Knicks selected the 7-footer in the second round of the 2018 NBA draft, and he quickly impressed in limited minutes on lousy Knicks teams, showing flashes of elite traits as a shot blocker, lob threat, and interior finisher, setting an NBA record for the highest shooting percentage ever in a single season. When he shot 74.2% from the field in 2019-20, yeah, 2019-20. When the Knicks hired Tom Thibodeau in 2020, Robinson became an increasingly important piece of the new head coach's puzzle on both ends. His rim protection helped elevate New York into the top 10 in defensive efficiency, and his development into perhaps the NBA's best offensive rebounder played an integral role in the Knicks winning the possession battle night after night. Along with Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett and later Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, Dante DiVincenzo, and OG Anunoby, Robinson helped reestablish the sort of rugged physical identity that Knicks teams had lacked for years. That identity that identity was on full display in the first round of the 2023 NBA playoffs when New York bullied the Cleveland Cavaliers in a 5-game romp that saw the Knicks dominate the glass and the paint. With Robinson telling reporters that he could see Cleveland's players getting shook at the prospect of venturing inside. So, let's see. As impactful as he can be when he's on the court, the 28-year-old has spent a ton of time on the shelf over the years, topping 70 games just once in 8 seasons and being limited to fewer than 40 games 3 times. In recent years, those injury absences mostly stem from problems with his left ankle, which he injured during a December 2023 meeting with the Boston Celtics, requiring a procedure initially expected to keep him out for 8 to 10 weeks. The Knicks later revised their projection, expecting Robinson to miss the rest of the season. Instead, he returned to the team in late March, helping New York finish off its first 50-win campaign in more than a decade and knock off the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round of the 2024 playoffs. During that series, though, Robinson re-aggravated the injury after Sixers superstar Joel Embiid pulled him down on a layup attempt. A visibly hobbled Robinson finished the Philly series but missed the final 6 games of New York's second-round defeat at the hands of the Indiana Pacers. He underwent surgery to repair a stress reaction in that left ankle and missed the first 4 months of the 2024-25 season, coming back in time for the stretch run and playing a key role in the Knicks' first trip to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years with his combination of bruising, offensive rebounding, and high-level interior defense. After falling short against Indiana again, the Knicks fired Thibodeau and replaced him with Mike Brown, who implemented a load management plan that kept Robinson out of back-to-back sets and kept his minutes down. The move paid dividend as Robinson played more games and minutes than he had in the previous 2 seasons combined, and made significant contributions as part of a deep, talented second unit. Robinson played a key role in the Knicks' NBA Cup victory over the San Antonio Spurs in December, and had several big moments in New York's run to the NBA championship, including critical late-game stops and rebounds over Victor Wembanyama in the NBA Finals. The longest-tenured Knick, Robinson said that being able to come through with those plays on the biggest stage of all and raise the Larry O'Brien championship trophy was a dream come true. I have been here when we won 17 games. We won 54 games. And to finally be able to get it done in 2026 after all the journey I've been on with the team and stuff like that, it's just been amazing, he said. This is an amazing feeling. I'm pretty sure every basketball player wants to feel like this, and we got it. And now he's got even more a sizable bag to throw in the back of one of his big trucks. All right. Let me see. So I want to actually let me see. So let me see. There is I'm trying to see something here. Okay. I want people out there who are Knicks fans to actually understand what the first and second apron is about. All right. So, the NBA first and second aprons. So in the NBA, the salary cap is the maximum a team can spend on players without incurring luxury tax penalties. The luxury tax kicks in when a team's payroll exceeds a set threshold, and the amount owed increases with how far over that line they are bet 365. So on first apron threshold around $195.9 million in 2025 to 26. Trigger activated when a team uses certain salary cap exceptions that can push them over the cap, such as sign and trade deals, non-taxpayer mid-level exception, non-taxpayer mid-level exception, biannual exception. The effect, once triggered, the team is hard capped at the apron amount. They cannot exceed it under any circumstances. This limits their ability to sign or trade players using those exceptions. Example, um, example penalties: loss of S&T rights, inability to sign waived players above the mid-level exception, and restricted salary matching in trades. The second apron, threshold around $207.8 million in 2025 to 26. The trigger activated when the team uses the taxpayer mid-level exception or other exceptions that can push them over the apron. The effect, the second apron is harder than the first. It includes all first apron penalties plus additional restrictions. Loss of mid-level exception in free agency, cannot aggravate two or more player salaries in a trade, cannot use pre-existing trade exceptions from before the prior February trade deadline, cannot send out cash in trade negotiations. Example, teams like the Boston Celtics have been actively moving players to get under the second apron to regain these tools. Why they matter, you ask? The aprons are part of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement. That's what CBA stands for. Designed to curb excessive spending. They they force teams to be strategic about roster moves. Spending above the apron can severely limit future flexibility, making it harder to build championship caliber rosters. In short, first apron is a hard cap from certain exceptions, um limits what is S and what is it? S and sign and trade. Yes, sign and trade and mid-level signings. The second apron, even stricter, adds more trade and free agency restrictions. Both are financial and roster building tools the league uses to control spending. Um okay, and yeah. Now how does these two aprons work, you ask? I'm glad you asked because I got more to where that came from. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Let's see. Let's see. Um, where is it? Now, how does it work? You might be wondering. Yeah, I just broke down the cause and effects behind it. Now, I want to break down what the second apron is about. Yeah. All right. So, and this is according to sports.betmgm.com. The NBA's second apron is essentially an intense penalty zone for off offending teams. The second apron is a CBA reaction to high spending teams of the 2010s. Teams in the second apron lose certain important roster construction abilities. Exactly what happened with Mitchell Robinson, who's traded to the Boston Celtics. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Knicks fans that's upset with James Dolan, probably the worst owner ever. But there is reasons behind it though, man. You gotta understand both sides of the story, as Dexter Henry and Brian Fonseca, and along with Gavin um, Gavin from the Locked On Knicks podcast was saying that this was the way he broke it down was pretty simple though. This wasn't about just a money situation. This was like based on the front office. So I pretty understand what this is pertaining to actually. And when you are in a business in the NBA, as far as a New York team or any other basketball team whatsoever, it's not just to get, but you also have to have a better understanding that it's business. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You really have to understand how to remember to study the game. As Dexter Henry broke down in New York Got Game podcast that I was just listening to not too long ago, when I was actually, before I got into the breakdown of the draft that him and Brian Fonseca was doing, actually. So I'm gonna continue listening to that after I get off the air. So so yeah. But yeah though, man, that shit is crazy man, how Mitchell Robinson got traded though. They did get some key players from the draft too, though, actually. So I will get into. I would like to get into that as well. Hang on a second here. Actually, I'm gonna put it to you like this though. If they didn't make the Mitch Robinson trade happen, they wouldn't have been able to bring back Jose Alvarado, which I will talk about next. So, I mean, that's just how I look at it, though, man. But first, I know everybody's upset about this shit, though, man. But you gotta understand business, though, especially if you're trying to make fucking trades to players and stuff. And guys who are Knicks fans out there, especially those out there that are hardcore Knicks fans, you gotta understand something, man. While I myself, and alongside with you folks at home, was watching the NBA Finals, when you saw him at the free throw line, he couldn't make a shot at the free throw line. It's not to say that he's not a good player, right? He's great at blocking. He's great at rebounds as well. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, and I think what Dexter Henry and Brian Fonseca is trying to say is that, sometimes we get too attached to players, right? But not understanding the business side of things. So I kind of understand what they're coming from, alongside with Gavin from Locked On Knicks. In case you're wondering, make sure you check out Locked On Knicks podcast, as they do, as Gavin and XJ, they do some analysis behind it as far as like the recap of the draft and stuff. So, and also also check out New York Got Game podcast. They also covered the Knicks too, and alongside with Locked On Knicks Squad Show. All right, so there you go, right there. Now let's continue breaking down what's going on with the second apron. Let's continue where I left off. All right, so let's see. So there you go, right there. Teams in the second apron lose certain important roster construction abilities. I just mentioned Mitchell Robinson getting traded to the Boston Celtics. Teams in the second apron for multiple years may suffer draft pick penalties. These days, it's hard to hear NBA media that doesn't mention the NBA second apron. That's because the second apron, a new set of CBA rules that governs finance and contract rules in the NBA, has a huge impact on how teams structure their rosters going forward. It has completely reshaped what NBA teams are able to do. Because the second apron affects roster construction, it has a real impact on NBA betting odds and the NBA championship odds market. It's important for both fans and bettors to understand how it works, which is so true. Which is so true right there, man. So true right there, man. And I actually agree with this. Wrong one. I'm sorry. All right. So what is the second apron in the ABA and the NBA about? So the second apron is a new additional layer of penalties that took full effect for the first time during the 2024 offseason. Teams that spent above the second apron threshold are subject to very harsh penalties that affect their ability to conduct certain kinds of transactions and maintain a competitive team. Teams who spend above the second apron threshold in multiple times in the same period accrue additional harsh penalties that affect, among other things, future draft picks. To really understand where the second apron came from, let's review a little recent history on why it was installed in the first place. So, NBA salary cap history. I can feel your eyes glazing over, but I promise this won't be super boring. Remember the 2010s when many of the top contenders were just the ones spending the most money? Remember how Golden State in particular built a super team that no one really ever had any chance to beat? That's mostly how the current NBA got a second apron. Historically, the NBA has had a soft cap, meaning it's enforced via a luxury tax. Historically, clubs have been allowed to build super teams by paying their players over the salary limitations. All they have to do is be willing to pay $1 extra for every dollar they are over the limit. Hmm. Compare that to a hard cap like the NFL, where teams who violate the cap rules can have contracts canceled and draft picks removed. Damn. Damn. All right. All right. Yeah, so okay, so where were we? Yes, so in the NBA, the soft cap luxury tax rule is a huge advantage for wealthy teams that can afford to pay tens of millions of dollars in luxury tax to afford an anti competitive team. Nowhere was this more true than the case of the late 2010s Warriors, who were essentially printing money at Oracle. Oh shit, Oracle Arena in the San Francisco Bay Area. In the wake of the Warriors dynasty, the second apron was born. Teams who exceed the soft cap in the first apron suffer mild penalties that are more in line with the traditional penalties for the NBA. On top of that, teams that keep spending and blow through the second apron are severely punished via a new set of intentionally harsh penalties. How does the second apron work, you ask? Functionally, a team can now have three financial statuses: good standing, penalty one, or penalty two. Second penalty status is the new second apron status. Prior to the second apron CBA adjustments, the relationship was much more binary, and the penalties for being over the cap were less severe. Now, the first apron penalties includes teams can only acquire, sign, and trade players if they move them below the apron. Teams who teams who execute a trade must match salaries within 110% of the outgoing obligation. Compare this team compare this to teams, in good standing, which have a broader match window at 125%. Teams cannot sign any players waived during the regular season if their salary is greater than the mid-level exception. The second apron penalties. Teams do not have access to the taxpayer mid level exception. Teams cannot use trade exceptions created when combining the salaries of multiple players. Teams cannot use trade exceptions from any prior year. Teams lose the ability to trade first round picks that are 7 years in the future. If teams remain in the second apron for any 3 years in a 5 year period, their upcoming first round draft pick is automatically moved to the end of the first round. So there you go, right there. That's the breakdown of the penalties. James Dolan, I want to get to him actually. Hold on. I can find that shit. Hold on. James Dolan. I want to actually find. I want to find this shit though, man. Hold on. James Dolan. Hold on 1 second. Um, okay, let's take a look here. Um, yeah, James Dolan. We gotta talk about him. We gotta talk about him though, man. Everybody knows he's an asshole for what he did, but mhm. Okay, hold on. And So, front office pleading with James Dolan to save Mitchell Robinson's situation appeared first on clutch points. Yeah, so the New York Knicks have some tough decisions to make this off season, and it all revolves around the second apron. Two words most organizations don't like to hear. As for James Dolan, he doesn't want to get involved with it, which means the Knicks could lose some of the bench power that helped them win the NBA championship this season. On the other hand, there are people in the organization who are pleading with Dolan to go over the apron to retain their free agents, one of whom includes Mitchell Robinson, according to Fred Katz of The Athletic. As the general spiel goes, the issue with crossing into such expensive territory marker that's $21 million above the luxury tax is not just the money. It's it's the lost resources, Cat wrote. Go beyond that the $222 million figure, and a franchise kisses away the ability to make most types of trades and execute most kinds of free agent signings. The Knicks front office knows this, and yet it also understands that dipping below the second apron would lead to much of its depth flocking elsewhere, which is why, despite Dolan's desires, it wants to go over the second apron, according to league sources, who were um, granted anonymity to speak freely. But so far, Dolan has not changed his mind. The Knicks have shown that they are title contenders with the roster they have, which should give some logic as to why some want to bring back their same core from this past season. If Robinson, Landry, Shamet, and Jose Alvarado all came back on cheaper deals, while cutting Pacom, um, Dadiet, then signing two veterans, the Knicks would just be approximately $8 million over the second apron threshold. If Robinson and Shaman came back on bigger deals and Alvarado opted into the final year of his contract, the Knicks would be $18 million above the second apron, which is what Dolan wants to avoid. I understand this, man. You know what I'm saying? I really understand this shit, though. I understand this. And what's this about? Um, Hold on. Another player came back. I want to get to Charmin actually. Let's get to that actually. Who else came back? Huh. Shamit um came back to the Knicks. Okay. So you have to think about these two plays actually. Landry Shamet and Jose Alvarado, which I'll get to next. Let me get to this right here, man. So after the dust of the Knicks championship parade and celebratory media appearances had settled, there was some sadness that kicked in. The reality that New York likely couldn't keep everyone hit hard. That made it a very welcome surprise when the Knicks were able to bring back Landry Shamet on a 4-year, $24 million deal. $24 million is interesting. $24 million is interesting. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, reports have indicated that Shaman actually had some larger offers from other contenders, but chose to return to the Knicks. The deal initially looked like a good deal for both sides. The Knicks were able to retain a pivotal player at a reasonable price, and the journeyman got some much deserved security. Most definitely, I agree with this. But after seeing some of the other deals around the Knicks have made an even better deal than originally thought. Landry Shaman's new Knicks contract looks even better compared to the rest of the free agency deals. Kevin Huerta received a 3-year, $27 million contract to return to the Pistons. Wait, what? What does that have to do? Yeah, return to the Pistons. Huerta is younger than Shaman and was a better player at his peak when he averaged 15.2, 15.2, um, 15.2, 3.3, 3.3, and 2.9 back in the 2022 season to 23 season. Okay, let me make sure I look this up real quick. Actually, so we got. Let me look this up real quick. hmm What? Hold on. What is PPG in basketball? So points per game is what it stands for. Okay, points per game. Um, and this one is rebounds per game. And APG is assists per game. Got it. All right. But since then, the former Maryland Terrapin has struggled to regain his form, despite being known as a shooter early on in his career. Huerta has shot under 38% from three-point range in 3 straight seasons. Shaman has never reached the highs that Huerta did in Atlanta, but he's been a better player as of late. The veteran has shot over 39% from three in back-to-back seasons and is a significantly better defender than Huerta is. But the Piston isn't the only one who benefited from Shamit settling for less. Dion Wade of the Cavaliers is signing a 4-year, $39 million deal with the 76ers, which is quite a lot more than what Shamit is getting. Now, Wade is a good player. Defensively, his versatility and size was what allowed Cleveland to switch ball screens. And offensively, he's a limited creator, but is a serviceable shooter. That being said, Shamit is more valuable. While he may not be able to defend as many positions as Wade theoretically can, he's a better perimeter defender. Shamit is also not only a better shooter, but a more willing and versatile one. Shamit shot it about 3% more accurately, but also took almost 3 more attempts per deep per 36 minutes. And he did not, excuse me, and he did a lot of that on the move, something Wade doesn't do often. Then there's another former Cavalier, Keon Ellis, who agreed to a 2-year, $18 million deal to play across the river in Brooklyn. Like Huerta, Ellis is young, and the Nets could be banking on some growth in a potentially larger role. Ellis' defense is better at the point of attack than Shamit's is. Yet, given the Knicks' returning guard size, you could argue that he's a better overall defender. You don't even have to agree with that, though, because it's clear that the difference in Shamit's and Ellis' shooting is way more significant. As any Knicks fan knows, Ellis was pretty much played out of the rotation in the Cavaliers' season-ending series against the Knicks, and yet he also got paid more. There's a possibility that Huerter, Wade, and or Ellis outplay Shamet at some point during their respective contracts. But as of right now, Shamet is likely the best player of the four, and somehow Leon Rose and the Knicks were able to sign him to the cheapest contract. There you go. Okay. Jose Alvarado. Let's talk about him. Jose Alvarado. And according to Clutch Points, if you told Jose Alvarado at the start of the season that he would win a championship with his childhood team, he probably would not have believed it. But that was exactly the magic of the New York Knicks run to the title. Eventually, they made everybody believe. Alvarado was traded to the Knicks by the New Orleans Pelicans in February in exchange for um, Dalen Terry and two second round picks. It was a homecoming for the spunky guard, who was born and raised in Brooklyn. Since then, it has been like a fairy tale for Alvarado, who quickly endeared himself to fans. He made his first start at Madison Square Garden in March. A few months later, he was holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy after helping the Knicks win the NBA Finals against the San Antonio Spurs. And of course, on Monday, the 28-year-old Alvarado announced his return on X in a statement. "I'm back on this," said Alvarado, who had not posted in almost a year. Let me see. He was probably still on a high after their week-long merriment. "One of the best 8 days of my life," added Alvarado. He agreed to push back the deadline for his $4.5 million player option from June 22nd to June 26th to give more wiggle room for the Knicks in free agency and the NBA draft. It is hard not to root for the pint-sized playmaker. He was undrafted in 2021 out of Georgia Tech and toiled in the G League before earning a spot on the Pelicans. He carved out a role for himself with his energy, doggedness, and quickness. Doggedness and quickness, to be exact. Those same attributes made him a key cog of the Knicks. He had his moments against the Spurs, most notably in the fourth quarter of Game 4, wherein he made critical buckets in their historic 29-point comeback. Yeah, congratulations to Jose Alvarado and Shaman for returning to the Knicks. Speaking of more Knicks players, guess who threw out the first pitch? OG Anunoby. And this is from Clutch Points. Once again, OG Anunoby traded to his New York Knicks jersey temporarily to throw out the first pitch at the New York Mets game today. The Mets faced their rival, the Philadelphia Phillies, at home in Citifield today, where the NBA champion threw his first pitch as Anunoby was walking onto the field. He was greeted by Mets fans with a standing ovation before he threw the first pitch to superstar Juan Soto. Before Anunoby took the field, he shared why the opportunity was special to him. End quote. I'm really excited. I used to play baseball, so I think I'll throw a strike. I'm anticipating a strike. I'm pretty excited. Anunoby is just off his championship win with the Knicks, where he had the game-winning play in Game 4. The Knicks had a historic 29-point comeback win for the Knicks against the San Antonio Spurs, but OG's play was the moment fans will never forget. After Game 4, Anunoby had a very calm demeanor as he delivered a play that will go down in Knicks history. Oh, yeah. Everyone's been telling me how much it means. I obviously see how much it means, Anunoby said during Knicks availability 2 days following the game-winning play. It's just really cool to be a part of it, and I'm very grateful. The Knicks ended their 53-year drought when they clinched their third franchise win against the Spurs earlier this month in Game 5. Following the win, they bought the Larry O'Brien Trophy. No, the Larry O'Brien Championship Trophy to the Knicks parade, where Knicks superstar Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, Jose Alvarado, and more were seen taking pictures and interacting with fans. While the Knicks have begun a much-deserved offseason, the Mets are hoping that some of Anunoby's championship magic can rub off on the team so they can secure a win. Well, I don't know about that though, but I'll say this though. I will say this though, man. When OG Anunoby made the first pitch, I have to say it's the most impressive thing that he ever done. His throw is way better than what 50 Cent did a while back, which was terrible. 50 Cent's shit was terrible, man. And he's a left-hander. That's the crazy part though. That's crazy though, man. So yeah. So yeah, there you go right there. There you go right there. So let's see, what else do we have to talk about? Oh, we gotta talk about the passing of Sandy Alomar Sr. Yeah, he passed away. Let's talk about him. Wow. Let me see. Yeah. According to the folks from TMZ, former baseball player. Um, the league confirmed the news on Monday after a local outlet in Puerto Rico reported the former California Angels star suffered a medical incident just a week prior to his 82nd birthday. Alomar Sr. spent 15 years playing in the big leagues, suiting up for 6 different teams. He finished his career with a 245 average, 13 home runs, and 282 RBIs. Damn! While he didn't have much pop, Alomar Sr. was a threat on the base path, stealing 227 bases during his career. However, his baseball life didn't end there. He spent time as a coach for the San Diego Padres, Chicago Cubs, Colorado Rockies, and the New York Mets after retiring from playing. His 2 sons, Roberto and Sandy Jr., both starred in the show in the 1990s and early 2000s. Alomar Jr. was a 6-time All-Star over 20 seasons, while Roberto earned 12 All-Star nods, along with 2 World Series trophies. Sleeping power to Sandy Alomar Sr. All right. Before I get into some baseball activity, we got to talk about the Netflix, NBC, and ESPN new baseball deal. All right. And this is from Yahoo Sports. So let's break this down. Major League Baseball has locked in its new TV deals. The league announced Wednesday afternoon it has struck 3-year media rights agreement with ESPN, NBC, and Netflix that will run through the 2028 campaign. NBC and Peacock will officially become the home of Sunday Night Baseball and the wild card round of the playoffs over the next 3 seasons. Netflix will get the Home Run Derby, the Field of Dreams game next season, which is this year, and a standalone opening day primetime game. ESPN will get MLB.TV, which will give it the rights to pull out of market games for teams in 6 in market clubs. It's unclear how ESPN will sell MLB.TV next season, but it is expected to be priced at $150 a year, which is the same that subscribers paid when the service was under the league's control, according to The Athletic. ESPN will also get 30 weeknight games during the season 2. The new deal is a direct result of ESPN opting out of the final 3 seasons of its deal with MLB earlier this season. ESPN was due to pay about $1.65 billion before the deal was restructured. They will still pay that amount over the next 3 seasons. All right. According to The Athletic, NBC is expected to pay MLB nearly $200 million a year. Netflix will pay $50 million a season. Netflix's opening day game will feature the New York Yankees and San Francisco Giants. The Field of Dreams game in Iowa will feature the Philadelphia Phillies and Minnesota Twins. NBC's first standalone game will be the Los Angeles Dodgers and Arizona Diamondbacks. ESPN, according to The Athletic, will have the ability to add more in-market rights to clubs if they become available over the next 3 seasons. It currently has in-market rights for the Cleveland Guardians, San Diego Padres, Colorado Rockies, Seattle Mariners, Twins, and Diamondbacks. In the statement, it says, our new media rights agreement with ESPN, NBC Universal, and Netflix provide us with a great opportunity to expand our reach to fans through 3 powerful destinations for live sports, entertainment, and marquee events. By Commissioner Rob Manfred said in a statement, aka the Snake, following our last World Series game that averaged more than 51 million viewers globally, these partnerships build on MLB's growing momentum that includes generational stars setting new standards for excellence, new rules which have improved the game on the field, and increases in important fan engagement metrics like viewership, attendance, participation, and social media consumption. We're looking forward to tapping into the unique areas of expertise that ESPN, NBC Universal, and Netflix each bring to the sport for the benefit of our fans. Fox will continue to air regular season games, the All-Star Game, and several playoff games, including the World Series. Apple TV Plus will get 2 games each Friday night throughout the regular season. So there you go right there. There you go right there. There you go. Okay. So recently, I'm pretty sure everybody was talking about this. Was pertaining to what Ottavito was saying in his platform His platform is called Baseball and Coffee Conversation Podcast. All right. Let's get to Adam Ottavito. Hold on. Wait for it. All right. I know I've been holding on to this topic, but I'm just trying to do some catching up here. So, Adam Ottavito lambasted the Mets' handling of their pitchers last season, questioning manager Carlos Mendoza's use of relief pitchers and organizational protocols, all while suggesting that the Amazings weren't worried enough about preserving their pitchers' arms. After rattling off names of Mets pitchers that were injured last season, Ottavito, hosting an episode of his Baseball and Coffee Conversations podcast, implored the team to be better than this. He said, and quote, "This is embarrassing. This is actually pathetic, like pathetic. I would never let this happen if I was on the team last year," he said. This was prior to 2024. At least half of these guys wouldn't have blown out. I would have protected these dudes myself. I would have had to jump in front of them myself. Unfortunately, there was nobody willing to step up and talk to Carlos Mendoza this year. It was just me, I guess. So a little bit of an issue there. Ottavito spent 3 seasons with the Mets from 2022 to 24, including one under Mendoza. The ex-big leaguer did acknowledge Mendoza was a good under the stress manager, but said things must change. And if they continue down this path, they are gonna be fucked because you cannot injure this many dudes every year, Ottavino said. Hopefully this is not an actual strategy because it's freaking pathetic and it's not player friendly, and eventually people will catch on. And it's funny because they were bragging about keeping people healthy the year before when it had nothing to do with them. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed because these guys that should be playing, so it pisses me off. Ottavito continued to explain that part of the issue, in his opinion, stemmed from a lack of player education on how to keep healthy and pressure on a lot of guys to play even when they feel a little compromised. I think he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to bullpen guys and how to keep them healthy or even how to care about them at all. There's no communication there. There's no feel there. There's no bedside manner when guys get hurt, the former Mets and Yankees pitcher said. The Mets saw injuries to Tyler McGill, Daniel Nunez, Danny Young, Frankie Montas, who's no longer on the team, Reed Garrett on the injury list, just to name a few, and they used an MLB record 46 different pitchers during the 2025 season. Ottavito pitched just one and 2/3 innings in the in the 3 appearances of the Yankees this past year, which was 2024. And speaking of Carlos Mendoza, everyone is talking about how he got fired. And listen, man, I am not one of those individuals who celebrates a person getting fired. That's crazy to me, man. That is so fucking crazy to me, man. You know what I mean? That's very crazy. That's really crazy to me. Celebrating a person getting fired, that's really crazy. right. Oh man. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, let me let me continue with this. Yeah, it's crazy though, man. So here's what's going on here. So actually, a 34. Actually, it's 36, 35, 36 to 51 record. 13 games under 500. The Mets season practically ended after a 4-game sweep from the Cubs. On Friday morning, the team delivered the news that those around Queens have all been patiently waiting to hear. Carlos Mendoza have been relieved of his duties as Mets manager, and Andy Green set to take over. While the move is necessary, it comes almost way too late. From April 7th to April 22nd, the Mets lost 12 consecutive games, their largest losing streak since 2002. For a team with championship expectations, the vibe around the club almost seemed too laid back, not having the urgency to realize there's a big problem. Having zero accountability sank this team. Carlos had Carlos has led the organization with passion and grace and is beloved by everyone who works with him on a daily basis. Next president of baseball operations, aka Moneyball Stearns, said in a statement released by the team, um, Carlos Carlos's impact on our players, staff, and culture over the last 3 seasons has been transformative. Unfortunately, we know we are falling short and change is necessary to move forward. Just because the Phillies fired their manager and they're doing their thing, um, getting better and stuff, that doesn't mean it's going. That doesn't mean it's going to automatically happen to the Mets though. To replace Mendoza, New York appointed Andy Green as the interim manager. Green has managerial experience, leading the San Diego Padres from 2016 to 2019 with a 274 to 366 record. Not sure how those numbers got there, but okay. While firing the manager amidst a struggle this bad is the right thing to do, this move should only be the start for a Mets team desperately looking to right their wrongs. Firing Mendoza won't magically fix Mets if David Stearns is around. Well, folks who are Mets fans right there, man, he is under a 5-year contract, okay? And you know what I mean? And and to you, you know what really gets me when I heard about this though? Look, he wasn't the Carlos Mendoza wasn't the one in charge of the fucking lineup, everyday lineup. He was given the everyday lineup by Davis David Stearns, aka Moneyball Stearns, aka Doogie Howser, alongside with Boy Genius. He's not so much of a genius now after the firing. Oh shit. Um yeah, but but look though, like sometimes like you can't really understand what it feels like to be pressured with everyday lineups and using certain relievers in the bullpen. And a lot of times, yes, it gets taxed and certain relievers are not going to be there. I get it. I get it though. But look though, man, the way I would actually say this is basically this team has its flaws. It has its flaws, the mental mistakes, and of course, this team is imperfect. Imperfect. They're not a perfect team. Just because you fire a manager doesn't mean that you're going to be a perfect team to actually reach aspirations to to wild card. If that was the case, that's just going to take time. I mean, we just got into July. We got into July, and then and then you got plenty of, I don't know, you got plenty of time to actually, turn things around. Now, even though the Mets are going to be sellers, I want to know from you out there, even though the Mets are going to be sellers, which one would you rather go for? Would you rather go for starting pitching or more prospects? You can't have both. That's my question to you out there. All right. So let me continue where I left off. Yeah, for starters, Mendoza was handpicked by Moneyball Stearns to run the Mets, team in 2024. By the way, I came up with a nickname for the analytics department. The nerd boat. Yeah. the nerd boat. Oh shit. Yes, the nerd boat analytics department. That's what I'm calling it for now on. It ain't gonna be just called the analytics department. It's the nerd boat analytics department. Oh shit. Oh shit, man. Hold on. I'm cracking myself up right now, man. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really cracking myself up right now. This is so funny. The nerd boat. Oh shit. Mendoza's first year as manager was shaky, starting the season with a 29-39 record before miraculously capping a run that led them to the NL Championship Series. That's National League for those of you out there who may not know what NL stands for. For once giving the Mets hope for their future. However, in 2025, even adding Juan Soto wasn't enough to keep a team atop the league that held a 45-24 record. Since June 12th, 2025, the Mets are 72-96 on their way to missing the playoffs for the second consecutive season. Only so much blame can be placed on the shoulders of the manager. Well, you have to put the blame on Moneyball Stearns too. He ruined this fucking team. He brought in fucking washed up players like Jorge Polanco, Luis Robert Jr., and I'm like, yo, man, you brought in washed up players. Even Marcus Semien, another washed up player, age 36. Which I'll get to after I talk about the Andy Green thing even more. That's crazy, man. Stearns has failed this team in roster construction, taking several risks that have proven to be detrimental to the team's success. In 2024, moves seem to make sense, adding Luis Severino, who's now in Athletic. Well, he's not coming back. And Sean Menard to the team looking to try something different. However, anything Stearns decided following their NLCS appearance was the wrong choice. The 2025 offseason put the Mets in a tough position, having to face the harsh reality that Pete Alonso, aka the Polar Bear, and Edwin Diaz, who's with the Los Angeles Dodgers, got into a chicken fight, which I'll talk about that another time, would likely be on their way out. That's exactly what Stearns opted for, allowing both to walk in free agency while also trading Brandon Nimmo and Jeff McNeil. Just like that, four of the longest tenured players were out of the organization, stripping fans of their favorite players. To replace the core four, the Mets took a risk, adding players with extensive injury histories and several who've never played their desired positions before. The Mets rotation was already viewed as weak heading into the year, with Freddie Peralta leading the way. Yeah, that I think it has to do with certain players playing in different positions that they never played before. Oi Polanco never played first base in his fucking life. All right. You know what I'm saying? So through 71 games, the Mets hold the second worst team OPS in baseball at 675 with a 4.90 ERA from their starters, the third worst mark. The offense has been consistently bad, and the pitching has recently fallen apart completely, allowing 54 runs over their last 6 games. Mendoza was put in an impossible position. The roster to begin with wasn't good enough, and several injuries took place. Soto, Francisco Lindor, and Bo Bichette have played just 9 games together this season, a big-time problem. I want to express my deepest gratitude to Carlos Mendoza for his leadership and unwavering commitment, Mets owner Steve Cohen said on the decision in a statement released by the team. Carlos represented this organization with integrity and dedication throughout, and I wish him and his family all the best. Our commitment to bring our fans a championship caliber team has not changed. There is no sugarcoating it. This season has been a disappointment, and our fans deserve better than what we've delivered. Cohen is correct. The season has been a disappointment. They need to start assessing the organization's future if they are serious about being a championship contending team. The safety blanket tightly wrapped around Stearns is no longer there to protect him. He's next in line to axe as far as him being in a motherfucking hot seat. The next 2 months will be very important to the future, with guys like Freddie Peralta and Clay Holmes set to hit free agency following the season, being key players to move on from. Now, I don't know, man. You're not going to get much from Clay Holmes and Freddie Peralta. If Stearns can't nail it, his seat will only get hotter. The Mets need to accept that everything they've done with this roster is completely wrong. While Green serves as interim, a long-term choice must be made for next season with a guy like Carlos. But I don't think. Listen. Every single Mets fan that I've listened to on YouTube and stuff mentioned Carlos Beltran's name. He has no managerial experience. He has no managerial experience. Like, what are you like, seriously, like, what are you talking about? It's one thing to talk, it's one thing to actually have experience in relating to the players and stuff. That's one thing. But to be a manager, you need experience. You know what I'm saying? You need fucking experience. That's what you need. So yeah. Yeah, that's my take on that right there. Let's see. So Andy Green, right? I don't think he's going to be doing it next year because he is he's doing something in the development department or whatever, and he's trying to stay close to his family. So he's not going to be doing all the traveling and all that other stuff. So he's not going to be doing all that extra shit. Um, so yeah. So the New York Mets, according to Clutch Points, turned to Andy Green during a collapsing 2026 season, hoping a different voice can steady a frustrated clubhouse. Um, Let me say this though, man. Let me say this. Not everybody can be a leader. The same way not everybody can be a rah-rah individual like a Terry Collins. Nobody can do that because every man's personality is different from Terry Collins. So I don't think you're gonna be, and you're talking about lack of leadership. I don't think anybody wants that responsibility, man. It's a big responsibility to have, and it's a lot of pressure. You feel what I'm saying? Now look, you can have all the New York media all you want, but you know what people and folks got to realize is that these New York media people sometimes they like to stir rage bait drama. That's what they do. And for fucking clicks on social media and shit, man. Like it's fucking crazy to me, man. It's like Bizarre World. You know what I mean? Anyway, the Mets turned to green on Friday morning after firing Carlos Mendoza, sitting at 34-47 amid a brutal June slide in what has already become a disastrous season. Mendoza led the Mets to the NLCS in 2024, but a 4-16 stretch pushed the organization to change direction. Green's first game did not bring immediate relief. New York lost 2-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies on Friday night, extending the Mets' current losing streak to 7 games and dropping to 34-48 entering Saturday's game 2. This is a recap. SNY Mets shared Green's introductory comments on X, formerly Twitter, as the interim manager explained the mindset he wants to bring to the club that has massively underachieved. The best thing we can do is recognize what keeps most people from performing is the burden they carry with them to work every day. The comment showed Green is not framing the job only around lineups, bullpen decisions, or daily strategies. He wants to reduce pressure, clear minds, and help players perform without dragging the weight of recent losses into each game. Green previously served as the club's senior vice president of baseball development, giving him directly familiarity with the organization's roster and long-term planning. He also managed the San Diego Padres from 2016 to 2019, providing experience in both dugout leadership and player communication. David Stearns has made clear Green is an interim choice for the rest of the season. The Mets are expected to conduct a broader managerial search after 2026. For now, Green's task is immediate. He must restore confidence, improve fundamentals, and help a shaken clubhouse reset before the season slips further away from a team that entered the year with far higher expectations and now faces mounting pressure across Queens. Okay, so let's see what else can we talk about here. Let me see in Mets land. What else to talk about here? Oh, let's talk about the Francisco Lindor thing, man. I got some thoughts about some of you idiots out there, some of you fucking idiots out there who want to fucking trade Francisco Lindor. For what? For what? You know what I'm saying? Like for what? Like that makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me, man. You know what I'm saying? It makes no fucking sense. And let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I will. Let me see. What else? Um, okay. I seen this actually. So let me see. Let's take a look and see what the damn story is about with like you're talking about training for Cisco Lindor. This has been bothering me for quite some time, actually, man. So this is according to Sporting News. So Francisco Lindor returned for the New York Mets, an exciting time for an organization that could use all the help it can get. I understand that Lindor has struggled a tad on the field earlier in the season, but I think that the injury has something to do with it. I'm never going to doubt a guy who's been one of the better players in Major League Baseball for over a decade. However, I am going to question why the Mets continue to think that just because Lindor is back, things are going to magically change. Recently, speaking to reporters, Davis Moneyball Stearns, Moneyball Stearns kept bringing that up, and I just absolutely can't agree with that. I think we're at the point of the season where there's a sense of urgency now. That urgency isn't a week or two. We have a period of time here before we have to make any any um, infinite decisions about a trade deadline strategy or anything like that. We also at a period of time where we have to start playing better baseball and win more games consistently. Francisco is a big part of that. We think he can help us. So I think it's both. Yeah, we got a sense of urgency throughout our team right now. We also can't put everything on Francisco to come back at a time when he hasn't been playing baseball very much and expect him to put us on his back. Look, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be excited to have his superstar shortstop back. And of course, Lindor can impact the team at a very high level. There is a reason why he's done what he's done throughout a lot of his career. But I also think it's important to recognize that even when he's been on the field this year, they might have been one of the worst teams in baseball. Um, there's a lot of problems in New York right now, and unfortunately, one player isn't going to change that, no matter how much Stearns might think it could. Let me clear something up. Let me clear something up on something right now. So when Lindor returned at the end of June, he played only 2 games, right? The reason why he wasn't available the next game or whatever, is because he just got back from a fucking calf injury, you fucking morons. It's like, listen, they want to ease Francisco Lindor to a, a much slower pace. That's how I look at it, though, man. If you're coming from a serious injury, a calf injury is the most common injury in sports. So, just like any other injury that you hear, like the meniscus and the handmade bone and all the other stuff that he struggled with. You feel what I'm saying? That's why he wasn't available, because he just played 2 games. He just played 2 games. So there you go. I brought this up to a guy named Barry Grant Jr. Shouts to him from the Queens Get the Money podcast. I actually brought this up to him in regards to the ridiculous, fucking stupid idea of trading Francisco Lindor for another player. And the reason I say that is because I feel like it's a bad idea to do that. He has a no trade clause. He has a no trade clause. Use your fucking imagination, folks. And it took the Mets years to find a permanent shortstop player after Jose Reyes got traded to the Miami Marlins and leaving the Mets. All right? Like, you have to be a fucking idiot to even suggest that Francisco Lindor should be traded. If it's based on his age, so fucking what? So what? So fucking what? Look at fucking Marcus Semien, for example. 35 to 36. He's fucking washed. He's washed. What the hell is Moneyball Stearns thinking? He ain't thinking straight. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't fucking thinking straight when he did that press conference recently. That's why he's in the fucking hot seat right now, man. You feel what I'm saying? All right. That's my thoughts on the Francisco Lindor thing, man. Do not trade this guy. Speaking of trades, David Peterson, he got traded. David Peterson got traded. And of course, this is according to Sporting News. Just as the NBA draft was getting wrapped up on Wednesday night, the Chicago Cubs were pulling off a trade with the New York Mets. The key to the report is this: the Cubs are acquiring left-handed pitcher David Peterson, former Met. It's not a move that will shock anyone given the Cubs' needs, but it has the potential to be a big one. Chicago has a great roster, and now it has added a quality pitcher in Peterson. He's a 30-year-old who was originally a first-round pick by the Mets out of Oregon in 2017. He has made an all-star team, and he has a career of 40 to 36 record with a 4.31 ERA at the MLB level. Peterson is a 6'6" southpaw, and he has struggled to a 6.09 ERA this season. Despite that, he still makes a lot of sense for the Cubs. And to one of the idiots who was a Mets fan who suggested Rafael Devers, he's not coming to the fucking Mets, man, okay? Stop this bullshit. Stop this stupid bullshit mock trade. Like, stop this bullshit. Why did the Cubs trade for David Peterson, you ask? The Peterson trade is simply about getting an experienced, healthy arm into the pitching rotation. Edward Cabrera's injury was just the latest for a Cubs team that has spent the whole season without Justin Steele and has hardly been able to keep a single starting pitcher healthy for long stretches. Of course, there's no guarantee of keeping Peterson healthy, such is the difficulty of the modern game. But the Cubs didn't want to give up on this season, and to keep pushing forward, they needed to get a guy like Peterson to give them a chance. Let's see. Let's see. All right, a breakdown of infield prospect. This is from Sports Illustrated. It looks like the New York Mets are getting a head start on the upcoming trade deadline after falling 12 games under 500 on Wednesday. The Mets have traded left-handed pitcher David Peterson to the Chicago Cubs, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. In return, the Cubs are sending corner infield prospect Cole Mathis to New York, according to the Athletic's Will Salmon. The 22-year-old was Chicago's number 13 prospect for 2026 on MLB Pipeline and was most recently playing for the High A South Bend Cubs. South Bend Clubs. Peterson has struggled throughout 2026, posting a 6.09 ERA in 16 games, 8 starts for the Mets this year. But the Cubs are dealing with numerous injuries in their rotation right now. So this trade should give the 30-year-old a chance at a fresh start on a team in desperate need of starting pitching. New York also reportedly landed a recent second-round draft pick in exchange for a pitcher who's set to become an unrestricted free agent after this season. Cole Mathis could be the first of many prospects the Mets acquired this summer. With the Mets now sitting at 34, actually 36 and 51 on the season, it wouldn't be surprising for this Peterson deal to be the first of many trades for the team over the next several weeks. New York has already called up a few top prospects this year, including outfielder AJ Ewing, aka the Flash. But depending on what additional moves the Mets make, more opportunities could open up in the big leagues for some of the franchise's other minor leaguers, like lefty swinging slugger Ryan Clifford, who's been striking out a lot, and right-handed pitchers Jonathan, who's also struggling right now. His ERA is over 6, and Jack Wenninger. That's maybe. As far as the team's worst newest prospect is concerned, Mathis has a 272 batting average and a 396 on base percentage and a 981 OPS with 10 home runs, 39 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases in 39 games across 2 minor league levels so far this year. The 22-year-old was limited to just 29 single A games in 2025, though, so he's only 68 games into his minor league career. The 2024 second round pick has mostly been used as a designated hitter or first baseman so far in the minors, while also playing 5 games at third base. Mathis was placed on the 7-day injury list for the High A South Bend Club. No, excuse me, High A South Bend Cubs on June 21st. So it's unclear when he'll make his debut in New York's farm system. But for now, the Peterson deal signals that the Mets will likely look to make additional trades this summer. And as I posted on Threads, I'm going to actually fill you in on something actually. Mm-hmm. All right, days ago, I actually made this post in regards to Cole Mathis. Um, he went to hold on a second. Let me just find it. Let me just find that post actually. Yeah, he went to the College of Charleston. Um, and yeah, he's batting 260, 371, 490. And this is the research I found on Amazing Avenues website. So y'all more than welcome to check that out as well. I'm pretty sure those numbers are pretty good and very impressive. So, you know what I mean? So there you go right there. Let's see. I don't think I have who else? Oh, by the way, little thing real quick actually. So MJ Melendez and alongside with Zach Thornton, they had moved to Syracuse. They got sent down to Syracuse, AAA. All right. I do want to do. Let me cover the whole. I don't know if I covered the whole Marcus Semien thing. I said I was gonna. I said I was gonna talk about it, but I'll talk about it here. Yeah, so Marcus Semien, let's talk about him actually. He had an injury. He had an injury. He had an injury, and let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. The New York Mets have been having a nightmare 2026 season, and the injury bug is a huge reason why things have been so bleak this year. While Juan Soto is trying to stay off the injured list with an issue of his own, the Mets have lost another key player this season due to injury. According to Will Salmon of The Athletic, the Mets are placing Marcus Semien on the 10-day injured list as the offseason trade pickup for Brandon Nimmo is going to miss a bit of time with a left hip flexor strain. Why are the Mets placing Semien on the 10-day IL, you ask? The Mets placed second baseman Marcus Semien on the 10-day injured list with a left hip flexor strain. Salmon reports. Ronnie Mauricio is up with the team. This is a brutal hit for the Mets as they are losing another key player this season during a year they've seen many key position players hit the IL. Soto and Lindor both have been on the IL this season, and now Semien joins fellow offseason additions Luis Robert Jr. and Jorge Polanco on the injured list. Semien was hitting 214 with nine homers, 29 RBIs this season before this injury, and over his last 5 games. He's gone 1 for 19 with 1 walk and 1 run scored. His 612 OPS is a bad mark, but there are plenty of players, including Brett Beatty, Polanco, and Mauricio, who posted worse OPS marks this season. The Mets are now down another key veteran this season and another big offseason pickup as well. Only Bo Bichette of the team's 4 big-name offseason position player addition is still healthy, as this year has been a nightmare for the Mets. Bo Bichette has been increasing his batting averages to over 300. So he'll be fine, man. You know what I'm saying? He'll be fine. He'll be fine. So, you know what I mean? I think he got everything figured out already. He got everything figured out already. So, you know what I'm saying? So he got everything figured out. Now, I do want to discuss the home run celebration change that happened recently. All right, so let's take a look at New York Mets. home run celebration 2026 Spiderman. Let's see. So let me see. Okay. All right. So Gary Cohen discussed Juan Soto receiving parting gifts from a young fan rather, after signing an autograph for him 2 weeks ago in Seattle. One item was a Michael Jordan rookie card. If that wasn't enough, Soto also received a light blue Spider-Man mask that he didn't give much of a second thought. Soto kept the mask with him on the road. By the time the Mets reached San Diego, players began goofing wearing it in the clubhouse, and upon rookie Carson Benj's suggestion last week, a new Mets celebration was unveiled. Since Friday, a player hitting a home run has worn the mask for the dugout celebration. The Mets homered 5 times in winning 2 of 3 games against the Braves and were looking toward many more celebrations as they opened a series Monday at hitter-friendly Great American Ballpark. It hurts a little bit because it's a little tight on the side, Soto said before the Mets faced the Reds, but it worked. Bo Bichette twice, Soto, AJ Ewing, aka the Flash, and Marcus Semien were the 4 Mets players who had worn the mask as Monday's play began. The mask replaced the ritual of a Met wearing a construction hard hat and orange vest following a home run. Just switch something up, Ben said. What's the worst that can happen? Certainly, it can't hurt. The remaining Mets from the team's 2024 postseason surge can attest to the power of Grimace, the purple McDonald's character who became a symbol of the team's turnaround. The Mets began play 32-39 last in the NL East and in need of any kind of boost. We're trying to have fun, Simeon said. These games get very serious, and you can be very hard on yourself. And if you can keep it light and have fun, laugh a little, it makes it better. The Spider-Man mask has received manager Carlos Mendoza's endorsement as long as it's on display often. Keep hitting homers. I'd like to see it there, Mendoza said. Bichette's breakout in the Braves series was welcomed by a team that has yet to receive consistent production from the veteran infielder. But the Mets also received plenty of all-around contributions in what had to be considered their biggest series win of the season, given the Braves on MLB's best record. The only other series victory that might compare for the Mets was last month's victories in 2 of 3 games against the Yankees at Citifield. New York, the New York Post receives revenue from affiliate and advertising partnerships for sharing this content. And when you make a purchase, the mask is something that we have fun with. But at the end of the day, we got to get the job done, Soto said. We have to play baseball and we have to play hard. That's the one thing that separates sometimes. It separates the celebration here and there. We just have to keep playing good baseball. We have to keep it up. It's a team fighting to stay healthy. The latest injury setback was Christian Scott's placement Monday on the injured list with a hip impingement. He also made the return recently. The starting pitcher joins Francisco Lindor, who recently returned at the end of June. Oi Polanco, ankle and bursitis, Achilles. Um, Luis Robert Jr. back among the key players sideline. No telling when Polanco and Luis Robert Jr. is coming back, but AJ Ewing, aka the Flash, took over seventh center field, so you can't take him out, because if you take him out in place of Luis Robert Jr., it's a fucking malpractice. Remember that. But the Mets are hopeful Lindor, who is continuing workouts in Queens, will return perhaps. Yeah. I want to actually address something in regards to the Spider-Man mask actually. Before I get off the air, actually, I've been meaning to do that for the last episode, but I ain't getting a chance to do that. So, also the Spider-Man mask is not just for hitting home runs; it's actually a promotion for Spider-Man No Way Home movie that's coming out July 31st. All right. So yeah, that's why you see some of the Mets players who hit home runs wear the Spider-Man mask. It's in promotion of the Spider-Man No Way Home. No, it's in promotion of the Spider-Man Brand New Day. Excuse me, I got the movie mixed up. Yeah, Spider-Man Brand New Day is the promotion of the movie and the Spider-Man mask. I like it. I like it though, man. If it's in promotion for the Spider-Man Brand New Day, then why not go for it, man? It looks fun to wear. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just to clear up clarification on the Spider-Man mask of promotion of the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie that's coming out July 31st. Mark your calendars. Let's see. Let me see. I think that's about it. I think that's about it for this sports podcast right here. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. All right. Let's get into this last segment right here. Stream choices on the go. All right, let's do it. All right, folks. Make sure you actually follow the Sports Edition Show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Facebook alongside with Blue Sky Social, Threads, and Instagram. The same goes for my other podcast shows that I'm doing. Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, the entertainment review show that I just recorded episode 159. Make sure y'all check that out as well as episode 122 and 123 on this sports YouTube channel right here. And of course, like I said before, for now I'm using a temporary laptop because my other laptop is out of service. So when I get myself a new laptop, I will gladly download the episodes, set up the episodes and the description as far as Spotify for creators and of course Riverside as well. I'm not able to do it on the temporary laptop right here, so all that's gonna have to wait. So we'll see what happens right here. In the meantime, make sure you click on the subscribe button on the sports YouTube channel page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Leave a like and a comment. Tell me how you feel about the sports topics in today's episode. And the question that I left earlier, even though the Mets are going to be sellers, which one would you rather go for? More starting pitching or more prospects? That's your question of the day. All right. Let me know how you feel about it. I'll probably post it in the community tab. I didn't have the chance to actually post it while I'm recording, so I will actually put that in there after I get off the air. So there you go, right there. And make sure you share the videos with your friends that are fans of New York teams such as New York Giants, New York Knicks, and of course the New York Mets as well. Every now and then I'm going to cover a little bit of college basketball as far as like the St. John's Red Storms. I didn't know they had a baseball team, so they have a nickname called the Johnnies. So anytime I hear a schedule about it, I will actually gladly look into it. And as far as the Big Three, as I heard, the Big Three basketball game is going to be on BET. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. And if it's on CBS, make sure you check that out as well. All right, folks. I'm about to get up out of here. That's going to do it for me. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, a.k.a. the Gregonator, your host with the most. And I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you for having the patience while I was going through my rut of losing my job a year ago. And now I appreciate every single one of you for listening. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. And, of course, find your niche. And if you plan on making a podcast, of course, know your whens, your whys, your whats, your whens, your hows, what your podcast show is about, and all that great stuff. Don't let anybody tell you there's no money into something. If you are an artist, whether you are a music artist, whether you are a content creator for podcast shows, whatever independent career field you're trying to do, don't let anybody stop you or discourage you from doing that. And do it for the fun. Do it for fun as a hobby. If you try to make money off of it, you're not really having fun for yourself. So there you go, right there. I also want to address this though before I get up out of here, man. Earlier, as I talked about the whole thing with Mitchell Robinson being traded to the Boston Celtics, I look at this as a trade-off because as I broke down the first and second apron as far as the penalties, you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it from a business standpoint. As Dexter Henry and alongside with Brian Fonseca and along with Gavin from two podcast shows that I've been listening to lately, Locked On Knicks podcast alongside with the New York Got Game podcast by Dexter Henry and Brian Fonseca. Make sure y'all check those two podcast shows out. And yeah, and listen, man, I'll be back next time. Stay tuned for more new sports podcast topics. In the next episode, I'll be talking about the difficult challenges as far as the Mets and whatnot whatsoever. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, and make sure you folks at home are staying cool. Make sure you stay hydrated with some water. Make sure you have some electrolytes. Also, if you don't have air conditioning in your cribs whatsoever, you can call 311 and they'll help you with some information in terms of cooling center locations in a neighborhood near you. And all right. And if you plan on watching the fireworks this 4th of July weekend, you might want to check out the website. Let me just pull it up right here. You might want to check out this website that I've been using. If I can find it actually. If I can find it, hold on. You know what? Write down this website. You can even text this to yourself. If you're looking for fun activities to do to watch the fireworks this 4th of July weekend, make sure you go to www.timeout.com/things-to-do. It's going to give you a whole list of places where you can actually watch the fireworks. Not just in Manhattan. It's also Brooklyn Bridge Park. There's also other places in Queens and other places as well. I will mention this in my tomorrow episode of my other podcast that I'm doing, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast 160. I will be announcing some spots where you could actually watch the fireworks and stuff like that, though, man. So if you plan on doing that, make sure you be careful, be safe out there. Make sure you have some water with you and all that great stuff right there. And if you're looking for some party places or whatever, I will gladly provide that on my other podcast as well. So there you go right there. www.timeout.com/things-to-do. All right. When you go on the website, you're going to see things to do. You're going to take a look at all the locations in the New York areas of the 5 boroughs. Of course, Long Island is included. If you're looking for places whether you are from the tri-state area of New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the 5 boroughs of New York, make sure you check out timeout.com for fun activities to do. If you're looking for parties, whatever it may be, I would gladly provide that for you on my other podcast. Now, before I get up out of here, somebody has sent me a message. Let me take a look. Real quick. Let me take a look real quick. All right. Real quick. Let me see. Shouts to Drew Learn right here, man. Let me give him a shout out real quick. Hold on. Let me look at this. Real quick. Hold on. Let me see what he says. Right here. Yeah. He says, G Money, I'm coming out with a new video tonight, and it's the 10 guys I think the Mets will trade at the deadline. Hold on 1 second here. Hold on. Wait a second. He said, what's up, G Money? And he also says, just had a baseball game and missed the start, but but I'm now here watching. In case you didn't know, Drew, the Mets are off today. The Mets are off today. They play in Atlanta tomorrow, the weekend, and Monday, the 4th of July weekend through Monday. Tomorrow, Saturday, 4th of July, the 5th and the 6th. They have a 4-game with the Atlanta Braves. All right? You didn't miss out on anything. The Mets are off today. And he says, I can't believe Mitchell signed with the Celtics. Yeah, you better believe it. I had to break down the penalties earlier with the first apron and the second apron. So yeah, there you go right there. Who else? What else? Um he says I went inside a beach shop on the beach. I got a custom t-shirt that says the NBA champions with a Knicks logo and a city background with the skyscrapers made out of the players' names. Yeah, that looks like fun though. I actually saw that online actually. That's pretty cool though. And he also adds in and Griffin Canning, who is now with the Padres. Yeah, he's a former Met though, man. Yeah, he's a former Met. No surprise there. And he says, when the team sucks, the manager gets all the blame, whether they deserve it or not. I like him a little bit and don't think he deserved it. And it's not right to the fans who are celebrating this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Exactly what I was saying earlier, Drew. Um, exactly what I was saying though, man. I'm not the typical Mets fan who celebrates a person getting fired or coming after their job. I'm not gonna do that though, man. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that because it spells hypocrisy. Like you can't have it both ways. You feel what I'm saying? You can't have it both ways. So there you go, right there, man. And he also says the Mets are so bad. I am literally crying. I don't blame you. I really don't blame you, though. You know what I'm saying? I really don't blame you. This is, as I said earlier, this is not the manager's fault, though. He was given a fucking everyday lineup. He was forced to use the fucking relievers in the bullpen. That's why. That's why. The Mets are dealing with the luxury tax and the burnout. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, there you go right there. And yeah. And he says, I can't believe we traded for Marcus Semien and gave the Rangers Brandon Nimmo our leader. Listen, man. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it myself though. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like, you know what I mean? And I think the reason being is because of the long contract that they didn't want to deal with whatsoever. So yeah. I think it's crazy, man. I think it's crazy. And they did the same with Pete Alonso. They did the same with Edwin Diaz, who's with the LA Dodgers right now, and he's in hot water for that chicken fight that he did. And he also asked me a question. Who are your favorite players of the If you're talking about the New York Mets or the Knicks, that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard for me to actually answer, though, man. There's a few on the Mets that kind of impressed me. Carson Bench, AJ Ewing, aka the Flash. They both got speeds though, man, and that's why they got the nickname psychopaths. Oh man. And also I would have to say Francisco Lindor, which I actually discussed earlier why it's a bad idea to trade Francisco Lindor, because you're not going to get a better shortstop than Francisco Lindor. He's a permanent shortstop player. And as I said earlier, it took the Mets years to find a permanent shortstop player when Jose Reyes got traded to the Miami Marlins years ago. I'm pretty sure you remember this, Drew. I'm pretty sure you remember this, right? All right. And he said mine is Francisco Alvarez. Okay. And he also says, yeah, I already read that one right there. I read that already. He says, I hope the Mets draft me. If they draft you, like if the Mets were to draft you, what position would you play for the New York Mets? That's the question. That's the question. Which positions do you play if you were to be a baseball player, whether in the minor leagues or AAA or the major leagues? Let's see. He says the only way I will let the Mets trade Lindor if it's for someone crazy like Bobby Witt. I highly doubt that. Or Fernando Tatis or someone that's a stud like them. LOL. But no, the Mets, they would never want to try to trade. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. The reason why I said that that's not going to happen is because it would be a bad idea. And then it's going to take more years to find a permanent baseball player to play shortstop. You know what I'm saying? Francisco Lindor is on a no trade clause. As I was explaining to the folks earlier, some of the Mets fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't be hyping this shit, though, man. We can't be hyping that shit. What else? Let me see what else he said. He said, G Money, thank you for being a big support and subscriber on my platform. Anytime, man. Anytime. You know, someday I would like to add you. I would actually like to have you as a guest co-host for my sports podcast. All right. What do you say? What do you say? You can. What do you say though? You can let me know in the YouTube comments whatsoever. Which day is good, because I record this podcast Sundays and Tuesdays, sometimes Thursdays as well, by accident. All right. So there you go, right there, man. And thank you for being a supporter, Drew. I appreciate you. Whatsoever. Shouts to Drew Learned. All right. Shouts to Drew Learned. Yeah, shouts to Drew Learned though, man. I appreciate you, man. And listen, I'm about to get up out of here. I'll see y'all next time. Stay tuned for more new topics in sports. In the next episode, I will be talking about the difficult challenges the New York Mets are going to be having, and of course, involving Clay Holmes and alongside with other things to be discussed. All right. Make sure y'all stay cool. Have some water. Stay hydrated. If you want to get electrolytes, go ahead. If you're looking for cooling centers, call 311. And like I said, you can check out the website that I just mentioned, www.timeout.com/things to do. When you go on the Timeout website, you're going to see things to do, and it's going to be a whole list of 4th of July weekend activities. Other than watching the fireworks, there might be some barbecues, whatever it may be, man, that makes you want to have some fun and enjoy yourselves with a smile and stuff to cheer you up. All right. Timeout.com, man, /things to do. Check out the places that's suggested on the page. All right. I'm about to be out of here. Stay tuned for the Queens Baseball Live podcast with the fellas, including Top Bunk. I will be watching them after I get off the air. Peace and one love. I hope y'all enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Happy 250th birthday to USA. Have fun. Be careful. Stay safe. Peace and one love. And in the words of Ken Stars, have a good night, everybody.